had a meeting with a CPA last week. He had formed about 30 corporations for his accounting clients, and then he ran across the articles that I'd written and watched a few of my videotapes, and he started to worry. He told me that he wasn't absolutely certain whether or not he'd completed all of the corporate formalities correct, and he didn't want to find out that he had done it wrong either mid-audit or mid-lawsuit. So he was wondering what he could do to fix the problem. He told me that he realized that it was going to cost him a small fortune to perhaps fix all of the problems that had been created, but he realized that that was going to be better than the alternative. And he was prepared to do whatever was necessary to make certain that his clients were taken care of. Now, it's not uncommon in my experience when I meet people that are starting businesses that they want to try to cut every corner and save every expense that they can when getting their business off the ground. And a lot of times what they do is put pressure on their trusted advisors like their CPAs or their tax accountants to help them save the costs of legal fees in getting the business started. So on occasion, CPAs and tax accountants will fall into the trap of actually doing legal work, thinking, oh, it's just, a few forms and I can fill it out. I'll have my secretary use an incorporation service, or I'll use LegalZoom or something like that. And they create these entities thinking, well, it hasn't run into a problem yet, and so this one will probably be okay too. Of course, until it is a problem, and then you've got basically a tsunami on your hands, not some small problem that you can easily fix. Now, when we receive these corporate record books to look at, it's very common that they're incomplete. They've filled out forms that they didn't need. They've filled out or missed filling out forms that they should have filled out. The documents aren't assembled in the proper order. They don't have the complete set of corporate records which one would expect. And what happens is when they get themselves involved in an audit or they get themselves into a lawsuit, they go into complete panic mode. They start to think, what the heck can I do? And a lot of times the CPAs will say, well, just quick, type up some minutes or type up some paperwork, and hopefully that will get us over the curb, which is not only bad advice, but now they have compounded the problem. So what do I do now? He asked me. What I explained to him is that it is not uncommon at all for people to try to do the incorporation process themselves because they've read on the internet it's really simple, or there's a lot of these do-it-yourself services that have spent a lot of marketing money online, and then when you look for incorporation services, page after page of the Google research findings show you that you can do it for 50 bucks or 100 bucks, and they fall into the trap and they don't know what to do once they've screwed it all up. So we've created a program in our office which we call our corporate record review, and it will allow us to help them go through their corporate records, look to see what's there, look to see what's missing, look to see what needs to be corrected, and then we can kind of guide them through that process to make sure that all of the things that should have been done have been done. So I indicated to him that the easiest thing for him to do would be to allow us to look at each one of the corporate record books that he had created, and we would run it through our 27-point checklist to make sure that all of the things that should have been done for the client and haven't been done for the client can be done now before there is a problem. So he said, well, just figuring out the problem is going to cost me a fortune. What do I do about that? And I said, this is very simple. I told him that I would help him go through all of his record books. I would do the review. I would tell him whether or not they were complete and perfect, in which case there was no more work to be done, or that we could identify what the problems were. I could give them a budget to fix it, and we could explain to the client that some extra work needs to be done on their corporation to make sure that they have that corporate veil liability protection in place. And we could step in and help them make sure that their corporate records were absolutely perfect. And I explained to him that I would do this at no charge to him and no charge to the client. And it was just a function of knowing better would allow him to do better for his clients, and knowing better would allow his clients to do actually better for themselves. So here's my offer to you. If you're an accountant and you have done the legal work of forming a corporation for your client, and you have doubts whether or not you did it correctly, or if you had your secretary or your assistant do it for you, whether or not they did it correctly, or whether or not the records that should have been done on a year-to-year date basis have been done correctly, I'll tell you, I look at this as though we are partners. I'm a professional in the legal world, you're a professional in the tax world, and both of us need to get together and help one another so we can really help out our clients. This is completely without risk to you, and you will know once we are done meeting and going over your files whether or not you're in a good position or not a good position, and we can now take the steps to correct that.